I just started the recording, so this session is being recorded. So thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be part of this conference. I was hoping to physically be in London, but it was not possible this year, maybe next time. So this will be a participatory hands-on tutorial. And I hope that you will jump in and open your cameras and share your process and your results. And I want to devote like at least half of the time for active creation. Um, so I have like several hats. And one hat is the machine learning researcher. Another hat is the artist hat, and also a more recent hat is maybe of an educator. And I'm trying to combine everything, and I hope to show you how where I meet these kinds of technologies in under these three hats. We will see today. We will start with a slideshow, but then we will see tools that I believe can help bridge the gap between the contemporary, very recent state-of-the-art technologies and the ability to make them accessible and run them without prior technical know-how or special software or hardware. And in this aspect, I believe that this is something that is special because these technologies exist, and on the other hand, apps in the smartphone are coming out all the time. But I believe there is a gap allowing the most recent technologies to be accessible and not in a constrained way, but having the ability to manipulate them and having the flexibility to applying them to your own media and own tasks. And this is what I hope to introduce today. Um, I will show stuff on Zoom. Zoom is choppy, so I won't apologize each time, but later you can, for example, see some of the videos on your machine. We will share all the links. And finally, a logistic remark, I'm not closely monitoring the chat, so please, if you have questions or issue, feel free to jump in with your mic. And also, we made everybody panelists, so you should be able to share your video or mic, and if this is not the case, please ask Nick to approve you in the chat. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, you can see my slideshow. Okay, almost full screen, but good enough. So yeah, so I'm a machine learning researcher. I work on deep learning with startups, mostly in computer vision and some language processing. I'm a new media artist. As I mentioned, I'm trying to combine, and today these fields are converging, and it's a very interesting time for this. And I did a PhD in physics at the time. I also curate a newsletter for new media artists. While the text is in Hebrew, the links may be useful also for people not speaking Hebrew. It's very, very extensive effort. So feel free to sign up. So addressing the connection between my artistic desires and my technical background and my limited talents. I my talents are quite limited. I can write words and I can read them out loud, and I can write code, and I have many ideas. But I don't know how to write music, and I don't know how to play music, and I don't know how to draw or paint, and even sometimes I cannot write because I have a writer's block. But I can write code. And this kind of code can start from suggesting me some alternatives, completions, like, suggest in your phone. But it can also, as we will see, help me to generate media and to manipulate media, and maybe to augment me, to perform with media. But it doesn't yet replace my concept, my artistic process. I do write the machine learning myself. And also, in the end, I'm the one making the poetic or artistic choices. So let me show you maybe two works just to get you in the set of mind. In one more slide, we will be speaking about generative neural networks. So we will not go into technicalities almost at all, but very high level, we have this kind of machine, which is a neural network. It's a software. And in general, it's composed of two parts. One part is an encoder, and the other one is the decoder. The encoder takes some kind of input, which can be text, image, video, so on, and it learns to extract some kind of, I like to call it semantic representation, or a computer representation, or a latent representation of the input media. And this is the encoder part. Now, the decoder part does vice versa. It takes this kind of computer representation and tries to decode it and translate it back into some kind of a human consumable media. And you can think about various media to use in the input and various ones to use in the output. So for example, maybe you would take a text in English and understand it and translate it into Hebrew. Maybe you take an image of a bird and say that it's a bird, or maybe describe a short passage about this bird. Maybe you will take a text about the bird and you will paint a bird, a new bird, or create a video of a bird. And essentially, all of these possibilities are becoming possible. And this field is part of machine learning. So we create this kind of model by training it on many examples. So I would take pairs of, say, sentences in English and in Hebrew, and teach this machine, train it to do this transformation. And once I'm done, I could apply it to new kinds of input and get the appropriate transformation. And it turns out that these kind of deep neural networks and generative neural networks today give the state-of-the-art results in many tasks in computer vision and language understanding, in game playing, and more. So this is why this subject of deep learning and neural networks is becoming more popular every day. Okay, two works of mine.
Dog, a deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun.
ایمان بیاوریم به ویرانه های باغ تخیل.
ואז גם אני יכול לנוע מהר מהאור.
물끄러미 바라보다 고운 난초를 건네노니
به ابرها که فکرهای طویلم بودند.
성낸 까마귀들이 너의 새하얀 빛을 시샘할까 두렵구나.
ברקת. So pictures of chapters and sentences, which is a quote from David Bowie, of course, is work done with Veret Haruti and Aret Sapirstein. We actually did it in a 30-hour hackathon, and we put together various components of speech to text and translation to English from various languages, and then a generative neural network which takes the text and draws an image. And we try to create this kind of live visual poetry machine. And maybe didn't understand some of the Hebrew or the Korean or the Persian, but maybe you could get something from the visual image created in real time while the poets read their poems. So this is one example of this kind of transformation I was talking about.
War. Terrorism. Extremist. Opposition. Conquest.
And in this work, Wordsmith, I try to build some kind of like a musical instrument, but using words instead of notes, and allowing me to play these words either using my hand motion with the Kinect device or with my voice to jump to some point in the cloud. And this word cloud is not just arbitrary, but it takes many concepts and try to put together the ones that are related. And then I can do some kind of associative live writing or reading with the assistance of the machine, which is actually reading each word that I'm highlighting. And maybe in the end of the talk, I will mention some of my recent efforts using generative text. But I want to take you back to some months ago when the corona was.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is.
So this is some kind of automatic prayer machine. I found this research doing these 24 hours live prayers on YouTube, and I like the aesthetic of prayers. And what I try to do, I took this live dashboard. I know February, and now the dead toll is much higher. But I took this kind of live dashboard and connected it to using a Sonic Pi, looking at the numbers of dead, and each time the counter goes up, you get one Hail Mary prayer, and they um, add up one on top of the other as the dead add up. And it's quite a morbid work, especially testing it, staring at it, actually waiting for the death counter to jump to see that the work is functioning properly. So it was quite morbid. But this was part of my effort to find how to express myself or express my feelings in Corona times. And of course, as a lot of the human activity moved online, I was trying to find my own way to participate online with all the difficulties of like these live video communication as we're doing now.
He gave us a place.
And I remembered that some years ago we were promised that actually one day these virtual or cybernetic worlds will become kind of an utopia. Maybe you know about the Oasis, the Ready Player One.
This is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination.
The limits of reality are your own imagination. Go into the Oasis, you can do whatever you want, and maybe you can also be whoever you want.
You can do anything. Go anywhere. People come to the oasis for all the things they can do, but they stay because of all the things they can be.
So people come to the oasis for all the
Tall,
things that they can
beautiful,
do, but they
scary,
stay
a
for
different
all the
sex,
things
a different
they can
species,
be.
live action.
And I was
But
wondering,
it's all your call.
maybe this is the time, maybe it's the chance
That's me. Well, that's my avatar. At least
to use
until
this
I feel like
moment
changing.
and check if maybe now we
Except
can
for eating,
go,
sleeping, and
we have to go
bathroom breaks,
virtual.
whatever people want to
Maybe
do,
we
they
can
do it in the oasis.
fulfill this kind of promise.
And since everyone is here,
So I wanted to remind myself what are the options or check what are the possibilities. And one a quite veteran effort that I learned about a year ago is the Upstage. This is a community for cyber performance. I was quite surprised to find it because usually, and especially like before Corona times, uh, virtual or cyber theater was almost non-existent. And then they are working on this for many years. Maybe the interface, they're now renovating it, but maybe it can seem somewhat outdated. But they really try to allow this kind of very expressive canvas, allowing people to express themselves using text and images and videos and voices. But I'm very curious to see what they re-innovate this into, but perhaps it's like more a niche, or at the time it was not modern enough. Another effort I stumbled upon is this inside the VR chat, virtual reality experience. Studio, and they recreated this crazy digital recreation of Tel Aviv, and you can be all these very crazy, funky, psychedelic, expressive avatars, and it can be really fun. But probably also it's a niche. Not many people are able to join and attend this kind of parties, or at least they don't do it as part of their daily online communications. And on a very different note, you can see this Facebook horizon. And here they allow you to become this cartoon-like legless avatar in the Facebook world. And I don't know, maybe it's the future. I'm not sure I'm so happy with this kind of future. And probably there are more possibilities. I would be happy to hear about them also from you. But usually the actual everyday online virtual communication looks like this, as you're all familiar with. And even this may be a good case where people are actually opening their cameras. This is not always the case. And I was not very happy about Zoom, and I wanted to, but you know, all the professional and social and a lot of the personal stuff went to Zoom, and I wanted to see how I can be more expressive, how I can find the way to be what I want to be in this cybernetic world, which maybe is not the utopia that we were promised. Okay, please just feel free to jump in if you want to ask anything or have any remarks.
היי,
So maybe you heard about Zoom bombing.
אפשר?
This is an
כן, כן, אני שומע.
קודם כל אני רוצה להוסיף משהו, שאתה קצת ידע. האילומינטי מורכב מ-13 משפחות, ביניהם רוקפלר ורוטשילד. הרוקפלר, רק לידיעתכם, הם אלה שמימנו במשך כל ההיסטוריה את כל המדעים, את כל האוניברסיטאות.
אנחנו האילומינטי, אנחנו שולטים בעולם. ה-G5 מגיע לכבוש את כל העולם. אנחנו האילומינטי.
So I'm not sure, can you hear the videos when I play them? Do you hear them? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So maybe you heard it's like an anti-COVID conspiracy, anti-vaccination, anti-Illuminati meetup. They were speaking about the Illuminati and the Rothschild and the Rockefeller families, and then the Illuminati jumped in and said that they are conquering the world and bringing G5 and so on. So this is Zoom bombing. Maybe you heard about it. People can come in and Zoom, and until they kick you out, you can have some fun. And so this may be one way to express yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am the narrator.
Just mute this. So I was starting to see what are the possibilities to like be expressive in online video conferencing. I found a face rig. It's you download it from Steam. It costs a few bucks, but it actually I was surprised. It go back to 2013, and it's very high quality ability to control these 3D avatars and also 2D cartoonish avatars. It's really nice, and I was surprised that this was already some years old. Okay, so let's try it. So as 2020 was also supposed to be the year that I'm looking and finding love, I was trying to seek out love now in Zoom, but I didn't want just to be myself. I wanted to be who I really am, who I can be in the cybernetic utopia. So using a face rig, I went into this online speed dating as a tiger that you will see in a second in this top row. So now he's just coming in, and the conversation issues, trying to understand why is this tiger attending, and there was a whole conversation, and you know, maybe you can see some of the girls smiling or laughing. I think they were happy about it, but they did ask that I remove my mask. And later I spoke to people, you know, in Hebrew, the word mask, masecha, and screen, masach, are from the same roots. And perhaps what bothered them is not the mask so much as the fact that this interaction was going through via the screen. But although I tried to participate in dancing to the music like everybody else, jump to the last moment, the conversation goes on, and ask him to take off the mask. And then when I say, no, it's really me, I'm a real tiger, I'm not a bot, they accuse me of being a bot. I say, please accept me, I'm also looking for love, just like you. But they don't allow me to stay, and they kick me out. So I'm not sure if they heard about the promised cybernetic utopia. Okay, so I'm a deep learning practitioner, and I set out to look what is possible today with deep learning. I already knew about the first order motion model, which came out like 1 year ago. And this is a very interesting, I think, groundbreaking technology, allowing to take a single image, for example, these faces or these full bodies of these models, and using some kind of driving video, animate the single images. And maybe you've seen things that already look of better quality, and things are coming out every day. But this was groundbreaking because it allowed to do so very easily and not requiring a lot of data or a lot of computation power or almost any pre-processing. So I set out to see what is possible at the like beginning of this year, and I think it was April. And okay, before that, I need to go back a little bit. Deepfake.
אזרחי ישראל, לילה טוב. אתם יודעים שחדשנות
Deepfakes
נורא
are with
חשובה
us
לי.
for some
נכון
years now. I did this in 2018 for Israeli television. Probably you see this happening today all the time on YouTube. So we took this a presenter and swapped his face with the face of Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister. So this is a deep fake effect. It took me like several nights or days and nights and a strong computer to create this effect, and a lot of manual labor was also involved. But let's understand some terminology and how this stuff works. So this is deep fake. This is face swapping. So taking, say, the face of the Chinese president and putting his face on top of Obama's face. Okay, so Obama is the driver, and the Chinese president is the avatar. I used to call it the victim, and then people ask me to change this, but I think it's good to remember that the avatar can be a victim. So we should be careful and keep this notion in mind. And then you have puppeteering or face reenactment, which is what the first order motion model does. And here we have a slightly different effect. So if at first, in the first technology, deepfake face swapping, we take the expression, head pose, lip sync from Obama, but also the hair, body, skin tone, background, and so on. And we just try to take the identity from the avatar. And in the second possibility, puppeteering or face reenactment, the driver, she now controls the expression, head pose, and lip sync. But from the avatar, we take not only the identity, but also the hair, body, skin tone, and background. Okay, so it's somewhat a different effect. Now, you already know how this kind of things work in a very basic level, because it's the same encoder decoder we spoke about in the beginning. So there is the encoder learning some kind of latent, compressed semantic computer representation, and then a decoder recreates the original image. Okay, why is this interesting to do? Because the secret is in the latent representation. Once we learn this kind of representation, we can manipulate it. And the very basic way that this kind of deepfake works is that I take several faces. For each one, I train this task. Each of us has his own decoder, a personal decoder for me, a personal decoder for Benjamin Netanyahu, but the encoder is shared. So the encoder is a universal encoder. And now when I want to use the model, I do this kind of trick. I put myself in the universal decoder, I get a lot of representation, but now I do something crazy. I put myself into Benjamin Netanyahu's decoder. And in this way, I can transform some of my semantic facial features like the expression or the lip sync or the head pose to the visibility of Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, so this is a very basic explanation of how this works. And feel free to ask if you have any question or something is not clear. So you can get very high quality if you combine this kind of deep fakes.
Is anything more sad,
this was the first option with an actor doing the actual voice impression.
In short, provoking
I'm not sure if the volume is high enough. You can see it later, but as he is doing different voice impressions and he's doing them very well, they are transplanting or swapping his face with the actor who is doing the impression, and the combined effect is can be very convincing.
Relic from a distant day that long since should have died away, dishonorably mentioned is.
And this is an example for some kind of a full body control.
Gonna give it to you, gold jewelry shining so bright, strawberry champagne. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like.
What's going on here? You have this ballerina. And these are the students that go to play for the Canada ballet. But using this kind of video to video generation, we take the source video, we extract the pose, this skeleton, and from the skeleton, and using some given images or other videos of these students, we're able to regenerate them, but now actually mimicking the source video. So this is an example of this kind of puppeteering or reenactment, but for the full body. Now, to do this, you would need to, again, train a model and a strong machine for several days and do a special training for each kind of source video and each one of the students that you want to control. So it's quite tedious.
Because Avatarify only requires...
But now I want to jump back to April 2020. And so the day I woke up and said, okay, let's see what's going on with deep learning in 2020 for creating deepfakes and avatars. And I was very happy to find out that just a few days before, Avatarify, the source code, was released. It's a kind of a wrapper around the first order motion model, allowing to run it in real time. Now, let me stress again, while the examples we've seen from 2018, 2019 required you to train a special model for several days on specific data and do it again for each kind of data that you want, the first order motion model allows you to do it like one shot. You just take the new driver video you want, the new image you want to control. You don't have to do special training, especially for them. You just plug them in, and in minutes, you can get this kind of effect. And what Avatarify did, it allowed you to actually do this in real time. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but there is another participant, which is actually me, connected from a different computer, and using this kind of Avatarify running in the background. Now it's a very disturbed version of Harry Potter because I didn't calibrate it and it captured my face in a bad moment. But it's changing maybe every minute, and we will show it later on the full screen, and allowing me to do this kind of live avatars. But let me show you another example, which is very emotionally exciting.
A single image to transfer motion, I can create a custom avatar based off of this picture of my grandpa.
So you took the picture of it.
Even though this is only an approximation of motion, it's still pretty amazing to see what it might have been like to meet my grandpa when he was a young man. And this could go beyond just making cool animations. Just imagine getting to watch a picture.
So he's puppeteering his grandpa using Avatarify. Now, Avatarify does require some technical know-how to install code and to have access to a strong machine. But if you have some technical know-how, you can use it. And if you don't have, I created the version that runs in the browser that we will see today. But before that, I wanted to play with this kind of technology, get a feeling what I can do with it. I was experimenting with it as an artist, as an activist, as a person looking for love, and so on. So I went to do this online theater performance, like a fringe performance done in Israel. But I went in as Miri Regev, which is the cultural minister of Israel. She was at the time. And I was quite surprised that the organizers of the event thought that she actually respected them with this visit, although she's very far from this kind of indie and fringe kind of art. There was a different event, which was a poetry reading, and they were hosting this a poet from Iraq. And they were saying that he's had some health issues and that he is late and that he may not come. And I said, okay, it took me a few minutes to find his image and I jumped in as him. I was hoping that it would be, just have some fun and then he will come in and I would go out, but he was not coming. And I was started to worry, maybe something happened to him. And on the other hand, the organizers, they were so happy to see him. And I didn't have the heart to break it off and to tell them that it's not really him. So I just stayed and smiled and moved my lips as if the mic is not working as they read his poems in Arabic. And again, only months later, I found a way to tell them that that this situation happened and I didn't know what to do with it. So although it's low resolution, this can be quite convincing.
אז זו סקירה על הנושא
I'm doing some kind of esoteric activism. One of them is against the political spam we have here, getting SMS messages many of them nearing every election, and we had last year 3 elections. So here I jumped in to this parliament member giving the talk as an avatar of him. And once they allow me to open the microphone, I do my...
אחמד טיבי ואיימן עודה בכנסת, בלעדיהם כחול לבן לא יכולה להרכיב ממשלה. מדובר בחשבון מנדטים פשוט, ואסור להתעלם מהמסקנות.
Reading out the spam I got from this guy's party, again, until they kicked me out.
תושבי תל אביב, צהריים טובים. כאן ראש הממשלה בנימין נתניהו. אני מזמין אתכם
נחזור...
And for the last example, I do need to give some explanation. So it turns out there are, I know of 2 Israeli startups that are using the terminology deep learning, and they're taking these facial images, and they claim that with the power of computer vision, they are able to predict if this person will be a criminal, if she is an intended criminal and be likely to be involved in criminal activity. And of course, this is in no way scientific and quite disturbing, maybe reminding us of some pseudo-scientific theories from the past. And actually, they were having this conference only one day after a Holocaust Day in Israel. And I had a question for the CEO of the company. So let me show you.
All the people without credit history, and we hope that there not will be any new problem like Michelle and Michelle's mom, and save some life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ido. Thank you.
Question for Ido. Can you do a Jew detection? Can you detect the Jewish face, maybe by the nose or by the size of the skull, so we can find the Jews and catch them before they take all the jobs?
What?
No, he was kidding with something from the past that's he tried to be, I don't know if serious or make a joke.
So this Austrian-looking guy comes in and asks if they can use the system specifically to catch the Jewish criminals taking over all the jobs. And the CEO is saying, oh, this is something from the past, maybe it's just a joke. But I think, so I'm trying to highlight this issue with this kind of pseudo-scientific use of deep learning, and I think this for me was a very strong way to use the deepfake technology to do some kind of activist intervention. So all of these examples were done using Avatarify. There are more technologies coming up today. So this is Love to Leap. We'll also play with this. So taking just an audio file, an MP3 or a WAV file, and being able to change the lip sync either in an image or a video and do this kind of dubbing. It can also create some kind of fun glitches sometime, like with this WAV example.
What?
So sometimes it doesn't find the lips correctly.
What?
So we will also play with this kind of WAV to lip. But let me show you something I did with this. So this is a promotional video they did against sexual harassment, and they took actors that they are advocating to think about the women. And these are actors, but I replaced some of them with people who are actually involved in sexual misconduct. For example, this guy is now in jail, and I put him in this video just doing this kind of lip animation, which is not so high quality, but again, what was important here is the message. Another technology allowing to do this kind of full body puppeteering. So you've seen the Everybody Dance Now before with the ballet, and here in the liquid warping gun, the quality is not so good. Although just let me mention, just yesterday came out the plus version, and they didn't release any code or model yet, but it's much better. But what's interesting in this technology, as opposed to Everybody Dance Now, is that again, I don't need to train a special model on a strong computer for a whole week for every source and target. I can just take a pre-trained model and apply it in a few minutes, get this kind of effect. And again, it's far from a high quality, but it's getting better from week to week and month to month, and probably the next workshop we will already have like a hi-fi version of this. And I try to again apply this in a interesting way for me, and this is like again personally emotional. So on the top left, you can see Eyal Gruss, who is the head of the Wu Wei Kung Fu system, which I'm a part of, and he is doing the first form, and he is actually puppeteering Joseph Cowles, the inventor of this Kung Fu system, which is not alive anymore. And unfortunately, we don't have almost any video of him. And specifically, we don't have the video of him doing this kind of Kung Fu form. But using this kind of technology, I try to take my teacher, and he now puppeteers his teacher. And on quite a different note, on the bottom row, he is now puppeteering me. And probably this is the best instance of me doing this first form of Wu Wei Kung Fu. I could never do it, all the moves like he does, and in this way I can. So and we will also play with this kind of technique. So I will introduce today various tools which you can find in this GitHub, but later I will just give you the direct links. And what I try to do in this code is to make most of the things we've seen before readily available in the browser without installing anything, without need of code, know-how, special software, or special hardware. And what I did is using these kinds of code notebooks called Google Colab. We will play with them in a few minutes. Allow you to run this code in your browser, but with rich possibilities of using your own media. And if later you want to be more flexible or more involved in the process, you can go in and either using the GUI or just using directly manipulating the code, you can have fine-grained control. And also I try to put in these kind of best practices and some novel effects. And maybe the highlight is this kind of replacement or say a version of Avatarify that I try to create in the browser to allow you to do this real-time head reenactment live from your webcam in the browser. And I didn't find anyone making it possible before. Again, assuming that you don't want to install anything and that you want to use your own stuff live. So I will show you this, and it's not, maybe it's not the best quality. It's not, the frame rate is not the best it can be, but I think it's a very good opportunity to play with this kind of technology and make it accessible for a wide audience. So we will play with this very soon. So this is an example of the interface allowing you a very rich control of the model and changing avatars, and we will go into these options in a few moments. So following my workshop,
שלום רב וערב טוב.
mine was able to do this kind of
להלן ענפי ספורט שחוזרים לפעילות
this kind of puppeteering, and again without technical know-how, with only a few clicks, he was able to get this result that is quite, I think, a good quality of a deep fake of Benjamin Netanyahu. And on the left, you can see I'm giving these kind of a workshop or tutorials for the last months. Each time more things are being added. And I really started to be interested in how to make this technology more readily available to the public, to artists, to activists, to journalists, to educators. And this is another example from a friend of mine following one of the workshop and using this kind of tools. And here in Israel, there was some publication of these allegedly left-wing people. They just took a deepfake image from, say, the website like "this person does not exist," and they wrote some text that these people like say I was left-wing, but I woke up and now I understand I was wrong. And people were not sure if this was real or fake. And then what a friend of mine did, she took this image and she dubbed it with her own voice, reading the text that was written in this Facebook of this fake account.
אני מתבאסת מהמחנה שלי. כל חיי הפגנתי למען השלום. כל חיי הצבעתי לשמאל, ממפלגת העבודה מרץ ועד יש עתיד. תמיד יצאנו להפגנות למען השלום, השוויון והסובלנות.
So it was very fun.
גם כשלפיד דיבר...
Actually, following this video, people said, okay, you see this, maybe she was not a deep fake, she's actually a real person.
שלום לכולם, אני מלאכי מפסגה סייבר.
But One of the most exciting things, I think, for me is the fact that these tools are now started to being used in elementary and middle schools in Israel as extra curriculum education, and also some Jewish schools in the United States. And you know, usually when a new technology comes out, maybe we see the first use case in the show business industry, maybe in porn. And it was quite pleasing that this technology I tried to make available, that like the first clients for my tools was not like show business, but was actually for education in schools in Israel. And I really believe it's important to put this into education. So I will finish this part of the workshop with some notes or thoughts on the moral, social, ethical aspects, and then we will go to the hands-on part, I promise. So 4 positive prospects or aspects I see of the deep fakes and this kind of technology. So first, I hope, and again, also maybe with the tools that I try to create in the seminars, I hope that making it more accessible will help raise awareness and skepticism. A lot of times, these festivals and conferences are wary from making this available, but I actually think it's important. I think it's already available for the bad guys, and I think making it widely available will help raise the general public awareness of the possibilities of synthetic media. So say blood labels, if you heard about Jews drinking blood of Christian babies in Passover, it's not true. It's fake news. So, but you don't need technology to do this. Okay, so this goes back, I don't know, a millennia or so. And if we jump to the mid 1800s, maybe 40 years before this picture of the meeting of Herzl, the Zionist prophet and the German emperor, maybe 40 or 50 years before that, they invented the technique of photo collage and or photo montage. I don't remember. And the photographer was too confused, and he couldn't get a good picture of the emperor and Herzl in the same picture. So what they did later, they just put these images together, one on top of the other, that you can see on the left, and created this famous image, which was not taken in reality. Jumping forward to recent times, you can take an image, say, from Syria, and just write in the title, it was taken in Gaza. And just changing the title of the image or the caption can create fake news without any manipulation of the image itself. In this case, there was this right-wing demonstration in the States, and this extreme right-wing person in Israel called the Shadow took this took this image and put it out of context. He put on with Photoshop this name and the icon or branding of B'Tselem, a human rights organization in Israel, and then he claimed that they are a neo-Nazi. So using Photoshop, and he's not very talented. I'm also not very talented, but I could take his face and put it back inside this image. And also I took over his old website and put this as the homepage. Again, not involving very much technical know-how to do this. So I think it's really important, and I think making it accessible, especially for artists and journalists and activists, can help in this capacity to make these technologies more widely available. I think we cannot stop it. I think like any technology, like electricity, like fire, it can be used for evil or for good. And I think it's important not to shy away and address this now. It will be available soon in apps. And I think one of the responsibility of people working on this is to try to liberate or democratize this technology today. A second aspect is privacy preserving media creation. So deepfakes famously started as privacy infringing in porn, taking the faces of non-consenting actresses like Gal Gadot and transplanting their face into porn. And this is a big problem. Later came this kind of deep nude app, taking an image or a photograph of a woman with a bathing suit and creating a deep fake of a naked body, but the likeliness can be quite convincing. And of course, again, harassing and infringing on the privacy of these women. But I want to advocate that actually this technology can be used for privacy preserving. So this is a very low quality demo I did some year ago. I wanted for a long time to do a project of doco reality where I'm walking in the street and documenting my interaction as I try to meet women. And I couldn't do it because I either need to ask consent or I need to blur their faces or pixelate their faces. And for years, I thought I could not do it. And then when I had the option to use deepfake, now I can take an actress or maybe even a consenting ex-lover of mine and transplant the face of the actress on top of the woman I'm talking to. So on the one hand, I preserve her identity, her privacy, but on the second hand, I retain something of the authenticity of the response, her expression, the lip sync, and maybe depending on the actress I choose, it can also even be thematic because I'm always looking maybe for the same person. And more recently, this was used in Welcome to Chechnya. It's not doco-reality, but it's a documentary, and they use this kind of face swapping to protect some of the actors that probably had problems with the local government. Third, positive prospect. So we're getting more and more philosophical. I like to call this the fake anything paradox, and it's the idea that this kind of technology helps me understand that my media representation is not me, maybe even that my physical representation is not me. So I've seen this news article some time ago. This politician in a Muslim country, they said they found a video of him having gay sex, which is maybe not allowed there. And he claimed that it was a deep fake video. And I'm not sure if it was real or false, but actually I was happy that he could claim this kind of claim. But let's speak about myself, and instead of sex, let's speak of me picking my nose. So on the left, I have this, we don't have time, so I just tell you about the video. On the left, we have a real video of me picking my nose. I'm very embarrassed of it. I don't like to show it. On the right, we have a video of me picking my nose. It's a deep fake, state-of-the-art technology made by a friend of mine. And you know, actually, it's so good. It's so good. It's maybe you cannot tell the difference between the real and the fake. And I love the one on the right side. It's like state-of-the-art technology. It's so amusing. Now, here's the paradox. If they look the same and I can't tell the difference, and I hate the real one and I love the fake one, this is a paradox, and something has to go. And I choose to give up hating the left one. And maybe understanding that in a world that everything can be real or fake, maybe I should not care so much if there is a video of me picking my nose or having some kind of strange, unacceptable sex, because my media representation is not me. It's just media which can be real or be synthetic. And finally, and most recently, I started to think about the notion that we are moving from distribution of media to distribution of ideas. NVIDIA just released maybe 2 weeks ago a demo of Maxine, and this is using AI to, in some kind of a video generation, to send over the video channel a low capacity data, so maybe not the high resolution image, maybe just some frames or some lower rate or lower resolution, and then use generative methods to get high definition video on the other side. So they're doing some kind of live puppeteering, just doing it for the person himself or herself. And this enables saving bandwidth and using getting a better experience in video communication. But essentially what we're doing, we're not distributing the media, we're distributing the semantics behind the media. And in relation to the talking about faking porn or distributing porn, maybe in the future, people will not need to distribute porn. Maybe they can just write the scripts and distribute the ideas. And maybe your own machine will create for you your own personal fantasy, or the fantasy that the idea was shared with you. And nobody will need to send any fake nudes or real nudes of any other person. So it will take some time, but I think it's an interesting prospect. So we talked mainly about the video, not so much about audio. We won't play with text today, but it's important to mention this year came out GPT-3. So there were chatbots and there were generated text for several last decades, but it was not so good until it came out GPT-3 this year. And there are many, many very nice examples of computer generated text. I want to read one that I got playing with it. It goes like this. I'm a dragon, I'm a dragon, I'm a dragon, you say to yourself. You're not a dragon, you're a freak, a voice says. You look around and see a large green head with 2 red eyes. It's the head of a dragon. Who are you, you ask. I am you, but more badass, he replies. This is stupid, I'm dreaming. Well, wake up then. So this is amazing. Of course, this model is not freely available, and it was very hard and expensive to train, maybe cost $12 million or so, I heard. I am working on my own generative poetry stuff. This is in Hebrew, so probably you won't understand it, but working at this for maybe the past 7 years, just recently I was able to get some kind of interesting output, which is not only correct text, but is also maybe emotional, maybe thematic, maybe causes me some kind of emotional reaction, which maybe this is the definition of a poem. And this will be part of an exhibition going up next week in Eilat. Okay, so this was the first hour for the presentation. And without further ado, I want to go to the hands-on part. The most important link is the first one. I will put it in the chat, and it will open a page with all the things that we will play with today. So what I would ask you to do is to put the Zoom window only on half of the screen, and on the other half, open your browser. So if the share takes over, you can then resize your window again. So I opened the first link, j.mp/avatars for all, and it opens this Google Doc. And what do we have here? So the first, the collabs, these are the code notebooks that we will play with. There are 5 of them that I created, and then there are 2 more of a very recent model that came out that you can also play with. For the virtual camera, and this is an advanced option, not so important, but you could check it out if you wish. For Windows, I'm using OBS. For Mac and Linux, I'm not so familiar, but there is a Git explaining how to do it. What the virtual camera does is take part of my screen and use it as camera. So if, and maybe this is a good time to show this in full screen. If you notice this guy, so this is the other me, using Avatarify, and I can just go ahead and change my appearance. So there is some calibration to do, but essentially I can control the head pose, somewhat of the mouth, and you know, when I open the mouth, it generates teeth that were not there before. So there is some control of the eyes. Sometimes it's not so good. I will show later, this is the image of myself that I'm puppeteering now. And we can discuss later some best practices, and you will play with your own data. Okay, so this is using Avatarify, but because we don't want to install anything, I will, I'm not sure if you're seeing what I was seeing, so maybe let's try again. Okay, so now it's spotlighted. So this is the my live avatar running on my other computer. And just being one of the participants in the in this Zoom. Okay, so now how do I cancel the spotlight? Okay. Okay, so Nick put the link in the chat if you didn't find it, and let's go back and see what we will play with today. So the collabs, we will just go over them now. This is essentially the code we will use. Virtual camera is not so important now, but it's the way to connect. If you want to connect to Zoom as the avatar, this is the way to do it. There are other software that we won't go into, but feel free to play with it. We did mention FaceRig. Snapchat today has very interesting options with machine learning. And there are other options, very nice options in the browser. I can show you just 2 of them. So it's the PoseNet and the Face Mesh. I do need to close my Zoom camera for this. So you should notice that the Zoom camera and the PC at least, it takes over. So you would need to close your video to play with some of these tools. And here it takes a few seconds to load it, but it allows me to do this kind of face swapping in real time. And I can also take an image. I hope I won't be sorry for this, but the image for my computer and just drag this image over to my browser and get Obama. Now, before, it would take me a week to do this kind of thing on a strong computer. Now it happens in the browser. So this is face mesh, but you see it's only the face, not the head, not the background. Another cute one is this face pose. Sorry, this PoseNet. And this guy does some kind of full body animation. again in the browser. Making my browser slow for some reason. Okay, it has some issue with the camera permission, so you can play with it later if you want. But what I want to do now is go into these 5 collabs. So there are 5 of them. The first one does video to head. You upload a video or you put a video from YouTube and you get a puppeteering of a head with an image of your choice. The second one does the audio to lip sync. The third one is like the highlight for me, the pinnacle. It takes your camera and allows you to do live avatar in your browser. And the 2 last ones do some kind of full body, like I've shown you with the Kung Fu. The second one is works much better. So like the V2 act is better than the V2 body. So I just want to review with you now 2 of them and then go play with it. So please open with me the first one, V2 head. Now you do need a Google account to be signed in. And it opens this window. And there are these cells with the play button. Now behind each cell, if I open it, there is code. But you don't need to do anything with the code if you don't want to. So the code is hidden. Now, if you just want to run all, you can go to runtime in the menu and do run all. But that's not interesting. I want to go into the specifics. And I would like you to go over and press play cell by cell with me to see that it's working for you. And if you have any issues, please open your mic and say so. So I don't have to wait. I can just go on. The first cell is the setup. And the second cell gets the video and an image from the web. So with the video, I put a YouTube link, and image, I put some JPEG from the internet. There is also an option to upload your own. And of course, you can change the URLs. But for the first time, just leave it as B. If later you want to change it, you can do it. If later you want to upload, you can tick these checkboxes and where it says optionally upload. Is everybody following? Is someone not able to run this with me? Please let me know. Okay, so then there is an option to shorten the video because if it's long, it can be too much. So make sure it's about 60 seconds, sorry. And then I go to prepare assets. So prepare assets, we'll do some pre-processing of cropping the image and the video. Again, there are some options here, but for now, please leave them with the defaults I've chosen for you. And if you want to know what is going on and you know Python, you can just double click and see the code and change it. So in a second, we will see the assets, the driver video and the avatar image we will be working with. And we see it's our famous Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, called also Bibi. And on the left, we see Ahmad Tibi, another parliament member from the other side of the political spectrum. So this is the driving video, and we want Bibi to drive Tibi. So now we press play. This will find the best alignment, and I just want you to see what is happening behind the curtains. So what it does, it actually looks for a specific frame where the face landmarks are similar, because the algorithm uses some kind of key points to transfer the motion from the video to the image. So we will see in a second what it finds.
Eyal, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I tried to run the find best alignment and I've got an error.
I guess you skipped one of the steps, either the step to get driver video and avatar from the web. So you need to press play on setup, on get from the web, and on prepare assets. If you skipped any of these steps, you will get an error. Can you
So
confirm?
the first is setup and get a driver video. This is the second?
Yeah, you can just do all of them. It won't matter if you just press play. So, so you can see here the alignment. It found the best alignment together with the cropping. And now we press animate. Again, there are some options, but please leave the defaults. And this can take a minute or so. And we will get the animation of how the driver video is animating the single image. And then there is an option to download. And then there's also a pre-process option to redo the lip sync using Love to Lip. Sometimes it helps, sometimes not. You can also try it, but here we got the result. You see in less than a minute. And here I don't have the audio, but once we download it and open it, we can hear. And once we hear it, it's of course more convincing. And you can see the quality is not amazing, but I think it's good enough. And you can, if you don't use the hand in the middle of the screen, it will be better. And you can also play with it. So this is the first notebook you play with. And if you get this, essentially you can run all of these notebooks. But I do want to quickly go into the two next ones just to show you how to operate it. So for the second one, I do need to do one action. The audio is English here. You can also put a URL for YouTube if you want a different audio. But once I press play and confirm, it does ask me to upload an image. So I press browse and I upload an image and then it continues. So this is something you need to know. There is a limitation of the number of collabs open. So if it says you have too many, it gives you an option to close some of them. And for the last example, I want to show the live one. So this is called Come to Head. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the fastest live avatar you have in the browser. Apps are coming out every day now, but not as flexible as this. So again, I start with the setup step, or you know what? Let's go ahead and just do run all. So one click or two clicks, I did run all. It will go through the setup. It will pull these images from the network, from the internet. You can later change the images or you can upload your own. It will do all the steps preparing the assets. And once it gets to go live, it will ask me to approve my camera. So, and for this, I did need to close the Zoom video. So the camera is free for the browser to take over it. And hopefully in some seconds, we will see the interface opening. And we can see how I'm able to do live avatar in the browser. Now, later you can also use the virtual camera to connect this back to Zoom, but this is more advanced. So we will maybe discuss it later if someone is interested. The initial setup can take a little bit of time. But once it's set up, just a few seconds and the GUI will open up. It's the same interface I've shown you in the slides. In a second, we will see the images that I chose, these three strong women as my avatars. Ilana Glazer from Broad City, Marina Abramovich, and the famous avatar. So now it asks me to choose and approve my camera, which is the USB cam. And now the interface opens up. So this is a wrapper around first order motion model. And this is my webcam. And this is the avatar live in the browser. Now, I remind you, you are seeing this via the Zoom. So the Zoom is making it even more choppy and slow. And it's not exactly real time, but it's good enough to play with. And before I did this, I couldn't find something as fast working in the browser. There are many options. I can play with the zooms of the source and the target. Calibrate is very important. If I do like this, I need to recalibrate to get good control. Sometimes being closer gives better control. Auto calibrate is some experimental option that I try to put in. Reset is important if you do too many stuff. I can change between these three avatars, but I can also use synthetic avatars. I can pull this person does not exist, and just each time get a new human. If I care about gender and age, I can use these buttons for different gender, for different age. There are some options experimental with using animation. Maybe the control is not so good, but it's fun. Doron Adler created especially for this, this Muppet does not exist. Your results may vary, but sometimes you get cute Muppets. And you can also control yourself. And you can also see the landmarks and play with some like blending to understand the correlation and play with the message buffer. So, but these are advanced options. And if I'm too messed up, I can just press reset. Okay, so this is the browser experience. And now I would like to stop talking and give you the time to play, of course, ask questions and play with these notebooks. And if you did not do so yet, please begin with just running the notebook and seeing that everything works. But then I would ask you to use your own media, either by changing URLs or by uploading, and trying to play with various kind of transformation. So we've seen video controlling image, camera controlling image, audio controlling image, and this was for like the head. And there's also options for using a video to do full body motion, which is more advanced and not working so good, but can be fun to play with. So what I want to do now is for you to go ahead and use various media, either as the video, the driver video or audio, or the target image. For the lip sync, you can also use target video. And I want to help you resolve any issues. I want to show you some best practices. I would be very happy if you share also bad results so we can discuss some best practices. Very happy for you to share your results, either with screen sharing or putting it on YouTube, or if you're more advanced, connecting with a virtual camera as an avatar. And I would be happy to discuss the like the possibilities and prospects and get your remarks and questions. So I was asked to go over the steps slower. So I can do so now if it's still relevant, but for those who got the gist of it, please go ahead and start playing with this notebook. And again, this is an active participatory hands-on workshop, and I think it's a good opportunity to get live feedback and help. And later you can use these tools to do deep fakes and avatars. with your own media and your own ideas. So before I go over the steps again, please let me know if there are any issues or questions. Kirk, would you care to share your screen and maybe we can do some live debugging?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh.
So you would need to disable your video camera for it to work. I'm not sure if you've done so before.
So you can't see my screen right now?
No, I can't see your screen, but I do need you to disable your Zoom video. So you can just click on the video button in the Zoom and stop your video.
Like that?
Yeah, very good. Now I guess maybe you skipped one of the steps.
Oh, okay.
So
if I
you can just go ahead and go to runtime on the top menu and do like a restart and run all.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can make sure that it's working. So again, here I do want to do the deep dive and go into the steps with you, but essentially it is possible to just do run all and just see it happening.
Okay.
Okay, it will take a minute or so, so please let me know that it works.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Any other issues or questions?
No, not for me at the moment.
I have a question about the first notebook you just showed us. If I want to change the video, the first URL is the one that's controlling the figure, and the second one is the one that we will actually see in the video?
Yeah, so the first is the driver video. It's the controller, the driver, and the second one is the avatar. So this is like the image that will be animated. And the first one, you can just put a link to YouTube or Vimeo. And for the second one, you do need to give a URL to a web-hosted image, but there is also an option to manually upload your own. So you can let me know.
If I want a quick check, if I get the hang of it, I maybe just try to upload another JPEG instead of DB and just to see if it works.
Yes, there is a checkbox you would need to tick for the optionally upload to allow you to upload. Once you tick the checkbox and you press play, then it gives you the browse option to choose an image and upload an image. Okay.
Okay, just trying it.
Any more questions? Okay. Once you are able to get something working, please jump in and show us. This is the purpose of the workshop. Another question in the chat, just reading it. Any recommendations for external resources and tutorials if you want to know more how the code works? So if you download the slides, which is 1.5 gigabytes strong, or if you go to the GitHub repository, there are links to all the papers I'm using and the like all the references and the project pages. And these are technical computer science papers. If you want to dive in, also of course there's the code itself. Everything is open source, so you can go to the original repositories and dive in. On a more popular level, I'm not sure I have anything specific to recommend. There is this series of videos called the 2-minute papers on YouTube, sometimes doing these kinds of reviews. And there are few people doing the YouTube tutorials. But I don't have something specific to recommend now. I hope soon to have also tutorials like this. So YT, please let me know if this answers your question, or if you want something more specific, we can try to find it for you. Okay, so should I do the steps again? Is there anybody having difficulties? I see a error in the code in the chat from Megan. Let's see. Would you care to share the screen with us? Okay, which one are we doing?
Good morning.
Hi.
It's like 5:30 in the morning here.
Oh my God. Okay, so
I've enjoyed it, the talk so far. We're doing the cam head.
Cam to head, okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you try to run it? Did you do just run all, or?
Yes.
Okay. So can you go to this tab and show me the issue?
Yeah. So I'm here. Oh, no. I'm just going to go back into it.
You have it open.
Do I? See, I'm sorry. I can't see what I'm...
You don't see the screen? You can make the window larger.
Is this what I'm scrolling down, and I'm going to press on setup?
Yeah, let's start with setup. I think here you have this error.
I have this all. I think it might be that it's my camera that isn't.
No, I think it's another issue, but let's see.
Okay.
So, like Google Colab is a free solution. Sometimes there are some issues. Also, these are like large files that are shared from some file sharing, specifically for my server. So I hope it's not bandwidth issues. So let's see the setup stage. Can you show me can you scroll down and show me, can you click on setup?
Yeah. Like can I click on it? Yeah.
Run anyway, yeah. Okay, so it got this file. Okay, so you can go ahead and click the get avatar from the web again. And now also please scroll down, and so this is the steps if someone is interested. Please scroll down and do the prepare assets stage again. Yeah, it didn't click. You need to click more strongly on the play button.
Here?
No, for the prepare assets.
Oh.
It didn't get
Maybe that's what the problem is.
Yeah, so now you see the assets, the prepared one, and now, but can I ask you, before you do it, can you close the fourth tab, which is the previous one you had open? Yeah, just close that.
This one?
Yes, yeah. Okay, and now please go ahead and press go live. And I'm holding my fingers crossed.
No.
There is some issue. Yeah, I think there may be some issue downloading the file. Let's do like this. I will check if this is the problem also for me, if there's something with my server or with only for you, but can I ask you to go to runtime on the top menu?
Oh, yes.
Runtime and do a factory reset. Factory reset, it's yeah, one below. Okay, factory reset. And now I would also ask you to like refresh the tab with the cache. I'm not sure, is there like a command refresh to do on the Mac?
Yep, I'm refreshing.
Okay, I hope it's enough. And then, oh, can you double click on the folder icon on the left? There is, on the very left, there is a folder icon, yeah? It will show us if it's like a new restarted machine or not. So in a second, okay, it's good. You can, by the way, if someone wants to play with the files, you can just open it. So you can close this folder now. We don't need it. And now please go ahead to runtime and do, yeah, run all. And let's see if it works. Let me do it at the same time on my machine to see if there is some global issue. Hopefully not. And we will know in a few seconds. Is anybody else facing this specific issue? Are there any other issues I can help with? So we just went doing the steps again. Did we solve this for Vishal, I think you asked, for Janet? Do we need to do another run through?
Yeah,
I think we're okay. I got a doorbell interruption, so I lost some of it, but I think I've caught up. Thank you.
Who is speaking, please?
Vishal.
Okay.
Yeah, something similar happened. I kind of lost you there for a couple of seconds, and then I kind of missed the step, I think.
Are you sure? Okay, we'll do it again. For Megan, you need to do allow. Allow. You have it on the left, yeah. So I think it will work. Yay, so we can see you. Please note that you're sharing your screen. We can see you, and we can see Ilana Glazer, and actually it looks very fast. And so I'm very happy to see. I think you have a very good internet connection. Okay, it's very pleasing to see this working. I think your mic is off, so we couldn't hear you. Okay, so let me go over it again.
Can I have a quick question? In the live notebook, the one that you just showed, I checked the manually upload and I uploaded the picture, and in prepare assets, I'm getting the error that says file not found error.
Yeah. So do you want to share your screen?
Yes, please.
Janice is already connected as an update. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, so you do the web page before. I think it's required. If you go up, you need to do this part before.
Yeah. To run this one?
Yeah. Okay. And then you can run the one that you ticked manually. Do the
maybe I skipped the first one. Okay.
You do not need those, but And now you can do the manual upload, and then you need to do the prepare asset. And then hopefully it will work. Just in a second. Okay.
I have
So
to choose one now?
Now you can be Baref ready.
Yeah.
Try to go live. You do need to close your camera if it's
okay.
So you do need to disable your video.
Just a second, I will close my camera.
I disconnected the camera and it's also my.
Okay, allow. Yeah. Few seconds, hopefully. Having my fingers crossed.
Maybe slow connection.
Wait. Be patient. So yeah, so sometimes there are some connection issues. In this case, it's possible to do like restart and run all, but wait a few seconds. And also
okay.
Some kind of camera issue, but these you can try to do restart and run all. And is there any other app that may be using the camera?
No, I don't think so. But I can stop sharing my screen and update you later what is going on.
So please try again. So let's see. We have Janice as the Forsuna. I'm not sure if you can see the gallery view, but and okay, I muted you. And we had, let me spotlight Janice for us. Hi, Janice. Your mic is closed, but it doesn't matter. Really sweet persona. So it doesn't work so good for the animation. It's harder to control. Yeah, with humans, it works better.
Is that done with Avatarify?
So we should ask Janice, but I guess it's actually using the browser version, the come to head. So the inspiration, of course, comes from Avatarify, but for that you would need to install it on your machine and have access to a strong machine. So let me okay, so let me do the WAV tulip someone asked for. And again, it's an option to review, and then we can, I will show you maybe some stuff, or we can conclude because we're almost out of time. Okay, so let me share my screen again. So you wanted the WAV tulip. So actually, there is something newer called Make It Talk, which just came out maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago. And maybe it's better. It does something a little bit different from the WAV tulip, but let's play with the WAV tulip, which I have more experience with. So there are 2 things that I can do here. I can choose the audio, and for the options, I gave like English and Hebrew, but actually, and the English is like the famous Jordan Peele doing Barack Obama. But actually, for the audio, we can put any YouTube and it will grab the audio from there. So you feel free to change it. And then when I press, so I change it, then I press play, run anyway, and now it asks me to upload an image. So I will get this browser button. I click the browse button, and now I can choose my image, and it will upload it and do the effect and show it to me and download and everything. And you can also upload here several images or even an image and a video. It can also try to do it for a moving video. Doesn't always work so good if there are large lip movements, but if there are not, it can make a dubbed video. So this is the WAV to lip. And so all the notebooks work quite similar. You do the setup, you do the either give URLs or manually upload, and then you do the preparing the assets for the other notebooks, and then you just run the animation or the live parts. We can either play with the full body, or I can show you some stuff with the live one, or we can discuss whatever you wish, like for the last 10 minutes. Are there any requests?
I would like to ask what would be the best notebook to use if I would like to make a video of a famous person saying the stuff that I'm saying. So should I have a video of myself saying the text and then choose his picture with the first notebook we tried?
It was hard for me to hear. Janice, just please take care that you are still sharing your screen so we can see your screen. Can you repeat? It was hard for me to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
I asked if I want to make a video of a famous person that's saying what a certain text, what would be the best notebook to use? The first one, and I will have a video of myself posturing the, having the postures and the text and get his image, or is there a better way?
So it's a very good question. First, let me make sure, were you able to make it work?
Not yet, it's still running.
If you want, we can take it offline. So for the, so we are not faking voices here. And if you do want to fake voice, there are not so many options. But in the Google Doc, I put a vo.code. They actually also added in 2 options for video animation just very recently. I'll put it again in the chat. But there you can find an option to put in a text and get back an audio. And they allow it for several, like maybe 20 celebrities. So if you are lucky and you want to do it for one of the people that are already there, you can. Otherwise, I don't have a good option to give you to fake the voice. So you first need to figure out what you're doing with the voice. Now, once you have the voice, you have several options. You can either use WAV to lip to just move the lips. You can use the make it talk that we didn't go into to get also some head motion. You could video yourself or use the camera and say probably simpler to just video yourself in advance and use the first notebook, the vid to head, with you either saying the text, or if you have a good audio, just moving your lips as the text goes. But you can also use the post-process option of WAV to lip that is running automatically after the vid to head. So maybe it sounded confused, but there are really many options to do it, and you should try and see which combination works for you, depending on the media, depending on the quality of the materials. And if you're interested in trying some options later and discussing how to improve, I would love to take this offline with you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Right, we're just coming up towards 2 o'clock now. So, Eyal, that's been tremendous. It's been very, very, you know, sort of engaging. And I got so far with it myself, I couldn't quite get my webcam to pick up from the script. So I just did it with uploaded videos instead, but that worked very well.
Will you show us?
At the moment, no, I've just quit it, actually. Sorry. I just quit the page, having done it a few times. So there we are. But it was good. I mean, I got a number of different people in the frame talking to each other. So it's yeah. I'll probably go back to those web tools and use them again later on and see what I can do with them. So can we still access the page after the end of this?
Of course, this is open source. And I'm actively developing this. Would love to get feedback, to help solve problems, to take in new ideas, to do collaborations. Yep. So everything is available for you. You just need this document that we can put in the chat again.
Okay.
And two people asked in the chat again, how do I connect to the Zoom? So if we have a few last minutes, I can just show it, because I didn't show it before. So before I put the link, it's all. Okay, so for this final trick, let me share my screen again. Okay, I'm going to the phone live. So I do need to restart it because the camera changed. Hopefully it will work. And I'm using a Windows PC. So I will be using OBS, Open Broadcast software, to do the virtual camera part. You see, my camera is not allowed. So I go here to the menu and I cancel the blockage of the camera. And now I'm not sure, I may need to restart this again. So in the meantime, let me open the OBS software. Now the latest version has an integrated virtual camera. Now, if you are on a Mac, you would need other software, and you can find it in the links. So what is happening here? This looks very intimidating. Can be in the beginning. Okay, so I need to add a window capture. So I go to the menu, I add a window capture. Okay. And now I have to choose the window I want to capture. And this would be, for me, my browser with the Foam Live tab. So I just choose that. And I see it's not running yet. So this may be a problem we need to fix. Let's just try to fix that. Oh, so I just needed to approve the camera. So now I'm back in the browser. And we can see me and we can see my avatar. So now I'm back into the OBS software with my window capture. And now what I need to do is to make the window, the capture window, just focus on my avatar. So I need to do like this. So I'm just manually now. putting this. Now I will make it larger to take the whole height of the window. Okay, so now this is my avatar. This is a preview. And now I can go to start virtual camera. So this is in a very recent version of OBS. They have a built-in virtual camera. And now, and this part is hard to explain because you will not see my zoom menu, but in the zoom, I go to start video and I just need to choose, instead of my regular camera, I need to choose the OBS virtual camera. And once I done that, and it's quite slow because it's zoom, but you can see that now, and let me just stop my screen sharing. So now my zoom is the avatar. And I'm not sure why for Janice it's so fast and for me it's so slow, but may depend on your internet connectivity. Janice, do you have like a optical fiber network? Okay, anyway, so this is the way I did it. If someone needs help, we can follow up later. Yeah, so someone wrote in the chat a recommendation for Janice wrote a recommendation for Mac. So OBS does work on Mac, but last time I checked, the virtual camera did not. But maybe they will fix it or in the like next version. Okay, so that's about it. Does someone want to share some stuff that to show us some things that you were able to do?
Can you hear me? And Eyal?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for this introduction. I got very fascinated and curious to try out more. Some of the things I've been considering already for some time when these tools came out is that I'm willing actually to generate stereoscopic pairs from this. And I was just, of course, these calculations involve a lot of parameters, and but I'm just thinking, is there a kind of like at least easier way to put like side by side two versions of the same image, and you know, kind of simulate this the shift of the camera. That's you know, the kind of well, in the 3D software, when you know there were not existing these automated tools for generate a stereoscopic camera view, I did myself, you know, it's like a long time ago, some kind of really simple offset, you know, in a horizontal kind of axis. And so this is the stuff I would like to, I don't know if you would have, you know, available to just for a different occasion, yeah, to talk, to kind of what would be the kind of way to generate stereoscopic versions. You know, it could be kind of realistic people faces, or it could be some abstract images as well, you know, from totally different technologies. And this is just, you know, my little comment.
So I would love to follow up on this with you. We didn't discuss anything 3D, but specifically for faces and bodies, some of these methods actually use some kind of simplistic 3D model because we can assume something about the shape of the face or the body, and maybe, for example, from the liquid warping gun, maybe you can even get some kind of 3D model from there. I'm not sure. I need to check. But I was curious, how are you getting these high frame rates? Is your internet exceptionally fast?
I think I probably have a good connection. I have several megabits. No, probably 200 or 300 megabit fiber optic line at home. But it's
And you're in a first world country, I guess.
Yeah, it's well, Latvia is actually one of the top. Some time ago was like top 10, I think, for internet bandwidth, or maybe even higher. But it's at the moment I'm just living in a kind of apartment building where it pays for the companies to put the fiber optic, so it's cheaper than from some other. I pay like, I don't know, 20 euros a month or something, and it's quite good.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. I had a lot of fun, and thank you for hosting me, Nick.
On the contrary, it's been really good, actually. Thanks, and thanks to everybody who's participated. And I see lots of good comments appearing in the chat as well. But I think, you know, as a very comprehensive introduction to the nature of the deep fake, and I think it certainly taught me a great deal about how these things can be constructed and the ease now with which they can actually be layered over other sort of footage and the live sort of interpretation. But I think certainly from an artist's point of view, really the range of uses to which these can be put as well is quite considerable. And I would like to see some of the, you know, aesthetic outcomes whilst also being aware of the ethical implications of doing so. So thank you very much once again. Any last comments or questions? We might have a few minutes now if people want to say anything, or yeah.
Yeah, please write your email in chat, please, just to make sure I'm not a bit lost. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, good point. Thanks.
So either also, again, if you want to share anything, I would love to see either now or later. And I'm putting my email in.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay, well, if we don't have any more contributions, I'm very happy to close the session. Thanks once again, Eyal, and hope everyone here thinks about coming to EVA 2021, which will be July. We're putting out the call for papers now, so do look at the website again, and which I shall just put into the chat actually before I forget. I'll just do that now. So I'm just putting in the main EVA London website, so you can refer back to that when the call for papers for 21 should be on the front page. And yeah, I very much encourage you all.
Is the EVA already completely over?
Yes, today was the last day. So there's one more workshop this afternoon with Carl Smith, and that's the lot really. So it's been a very interesting week.
Okay, so without taking the focus, let me invite you to the Pixel Festival, which is also going on now with some interesting talks and tutorials. And I'm doing this workshop tomorrow there, if someone is interested. And there are other interesting ones, so feel free to check it out. I put pixel.no, I put it in the chat.
Great. No, that's fantastic. So is that starting quite soon, 21st? So yeah, tomorrow. Wow.
Yeah, so mine is tomorrow. The festival actually started, and there are many interesting things going on.
Good, good. All right, with that, thank you very much, one and all. Good to have our international participants here, and have a very good Friday. All the best. Bye-bye.